Okay, we're going to do a 5-minute lesson plan today. The aim of the lesson plan, and remember an aim is a generalised statement of intent. I want to introduce learners to making an apple pie, or apple crumble. The objectives are not generalised, they're specific and measurable. So my first learning objective is going to be peel apples, remove the core and place in the oven dish. The next one is going to be add a pinch of cinnamon and sugar. The next one is going to be mix flour, butter and sugar to place on top of the apples. So notice that all of these objectives are measurable. So I will know at the end of the lesson whether students have done these or not, and that's how you can judge the success of it. Some learners may is for differentiated objectives, because you change the objectives for your class depending upon the needs of your learners. Some learners might need more challenging outcomes, some might need easier outcomes, or some might need the task adjusted in some way to meet their different learning needs or different learning conditions. But in this instance, some learners are going to convert between metric and imperial measurements. So some learners may convert between metric and imperial measures. So we've mentioned differentiation by objective. We're also going to be differentiating by dialogue, because you'll talk to your learners differently depending upon what they understand of your class and what you think that they still need to understand. You're also going to support them differently depending upon how they find the difficulty of the task, and you're going to ask them questions and answers to check that they understand the task, but also sometimes to check their assumptions and to question their perspectives. Now you're going to approach the lesson differently depending upon the learner's experience, because they may in fact contribute differently. If they've already had experience of making an apple pie, you might want to make the task a little bit different for them so that it's a little bit more challenging. Now, the first stage of this lesson is going to be following approximately the stages of present, apply and review. So the first stage of the lesson is going to be where you present your information. So tutor's going to talk through the apple pie recipe, and safety procedures. Key message is going to be safety and following instructions. The next stage of the lesson, following the present, apply, review, after you've presented the information to the learners, they need to apply it. So learners are going to measure and mix the ingredients. The learners are also going to follow a self-assessment checklist, which provides them some extra support to make sure that they are actually doing the task correctly. And further, we're going to get them to peer assess each other, also following a checklist. The next stage of the lesson is going to be the tutor assessment. So the tutor will carry out the assessment during that stage, and the final stage of the lesson will actually be the plenary, where you will celebrate the success of the apple crumbles, and it's really, the plenary is the opportunity for learners to revisit the learning outcomes and for them to understand how they've actually got to their destination, and for them to have signposts and links to the next lesson. One of the key messages in this class is going to be following the recipe, because it's important that they understand that if they don't follow the recipe, it may not work. And also safety in the kitchen. There's going to be lots of different assessment for learning. AFL stands for assessment for learning. And Socratic questioning, where we check that they understand what's going on, or we check their assumptions or their different perspectives. We're also going to be using peer assessment, the self-assessment checklist that we've mentioned previously, and also tutor observation. So there's a number of different formative assessment methods. So thank you very much for that. So that's just over 5 minutes, but it does show you how quickly you can prepare a short lesson plan for a short lesson. Good luck. Bye.